am Erd, the one who knows all that has happened to you before this day.
I am Verdandi, and there is nothing in the spiral that is hidden from my sight.
I am Skald, and I knew you were coming.
And I'm Fawne, and this is Wizard Weekly, where we bring you news and humor from around the spiral. And boy, do I have some news for you. Pack up your mittens, bundle your pets, and make sure the cocoa's hot. Wintertusk has hit the test realms. You're called to arms against the Coven, who managed to slink away after you ruffled their tail feathers the last time. They've imprisoned Grandmother Raven and frozen all your allies in an icy glimpse of what's to come. If you don't act quickly, they may be able to wake the Frost Titan, who will spread the Everwinter across the spiral, freezing everyone and everything in an eternal winter. The release of this greatly anticipated Winter Wonderland isn't the only thing King's Isle has in store for us. Don't forget Crab Alley is reopened for those level 12 and higher, and there's a new dungeon for legendary wizards as well, the Waterworks. New school pets and spells have been released in the test realm as well. Crowns users who skipped Grizzleheim will be glad to know that they won't need to fork out the big bucks to get to Wintertusk to get their new spells. All you have to do is beat one boss in the Ravenscar area of Grizzleheim and you're all set. Of course this is only beta and things may be subject to change, but it's nice for the time being. Speaking of crowns, the crown shop will be getting a facelift and has all sorts of new functionality. With a bunch of added tabs to make things easier to find, and a search feature, it really is so much easier to use. It also brings you right to the Henchman tab when you're in battle, making our instant friends that much easier to conjure. If you're into questing alone, there's an upcoming feature out there that you'll absolutely love. In the Wintertusk expansion, we will have the option of appearing offline to our friends. So if you've just had a super grouchy day and you want to beat some monsters up by yourself, or if you have a serious case of life student-itis and want to relax in your home in peace and quiet, you can. You can even relax to some of the music from King's Isle's super secret young composer, whom they announced will be doing the soundtrack for this upcoming expansion. They'll be doing 7 tracks based off the different angles of the upcoming Wintertusk storyline. The true identity of this melodious mastermind is still a secret, but King's Isle will be releasing clues to their true identity over the course of the next few weeks. At least we know it's not just Imbiber. Phew! Nothing quiet about the Power Pip this week. Sounds of battle are echoing across the spiral as the Wizard 101 Central 200th tournament swings into full gear. Wizards and Wizardettes are battling it out in the arena and derby for the title of number 1. We'll have more on this as it really gets going, so keep an eye out. This week in Better Homes and Gardens, we'll be touring the home of LunarKnight, who has a rather magnificent lifehouse. No sooner do you enter his yard when you're swallowed up by the lush forest that's grown in around his home. His pet Minotaur was there to greet me. Or so I thought. Okay, watch the horns! LunarKnight's yard is a shady, cool retreat where you can enjoy the ambience. And maybe roast a marshmallow or two. The first thing you see as you enter his home is a majestic fountain that complements the natural water feature. Keep going and you stumble upon a Crocotopian oasis just on the other side of the door. In the cool stillness of his basement, there's a Mushu Zen garden where you can find inner peace and tranquility while reflecting upon the clear, cool waters of his brick-walled pond, of which he's quite proud. Head back up the ramp and you find yourself in a tiki lounge, which boasts an odd assortment of knickknacks around the spiral, and it overlooks the entryway. Just next door is his Celestia room, where you can enjoy the beautiful flora Celestia has to offer without getting your boots wet. If underwater's never been your thing, LunarKnight's indoor campground is where you may find yourself. Finally, we end our tour at the Marlebonian Room, a real tribute to Hyde Park, complete with caretaker. As you roam around LunarKnight's home, you realize just how unique all his different rooms are because there's something for everyone. A little bit of everything. And there's a little bit of everything in my dorm room too, where we'll be returning for part 2 of the installation of my attic, which sounds a lot harder than it actually is, trust me! Now I know last week we made the ladder, but you'll have to recreate it this week for this glitch to work. I've just slapped mine together again. I tucked it a little more out of the way than it was last time. It's not in the middle of the room anymore. And for this one, you'll want to leave the top 2 crates without a tatami mat. Take that tatami mat and place it on the floor where there's a lot of space on one side. Take the rug that you want to put up there, the one to start your attic, right on top of the tatami mat. You can move it around, it's not very particular. Take that tatami mat and place it on top of your ladder like you normally would. Move the ladder to one side, making sure it's not under anything. Clean up, and move it back. Which I make look harder than it really is. And there you have it. Your ladder's complete, and you have a top floor. Now, you can leave this as it is and just store smaller things up here, or you can build outwards with more rugs if you want to. You can even use this method to start a rug racetrack. The possibilities are endless. Just like the stream of questions from our viewers in this week's Letters from the Spiral. Sean writes us to ask, do you think Barkingham Palace will ever have a role in the Wizard 101 storyline? You know, I totally forgot about that place. I don't think it'll ever become a part of the main Wizard 101 storyline just because Marleybone was a key part of the Malistaire questline. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it as a side dungeon one day, like Jotun and his brothers, or maybe Brisk Breeze Tower. It's got enough of a story behind it. It's just waiting for its time to shine. Good question. Onwards to the next. Dianit has another good one. Do you think King's Isle will open more areas to non-members? I don't think so. I know there's a whole bunch of free-to-play members out there going, oh come on, it would be so awesome! But the thing is, King's Isle wants you to sign up and get the new content. The stuff you can do for free right now is just to give you a taste of what you could have if you subscribed or bought crowns, and it's just enough. You can do Triton Avenue, you know what's down there, it's really cool. You get a few quests and zones that aren't available to you as a free player and you want to complete them. You want to know how the story ends, and in my opinion, it's a perfect place to leave off. It's also a bad idea to give free players more content just because they've been asking it forever. The tempests of posts asking for more free content has been beating against the rock that is King's Isle since I started playing. And if they caved in now and said, okay, yeah, we'll give you Cyclops Lane too, the community would just eat it up. And they'd try and see if they could get just a little bit more, and it would be relentless. And that initial cave-in would just be the glimmer of hope that drove them, that kept them going. Finally, it wouldn't be very fair to Crowns players. The guys who bought whatever zone they decided to make free. I mean, sure they'd be refunded, but it's crowns they could have spent earlier in the game that, you know, they just didn't have. Not to mention the refund would be rather costly as well. So if you think about it, not having more free content isn't a bad thing. I know it's not what a bunch of people want to hear, but I think King's Isle hit the bullseye on this one. They gave us just the right amount of free content. Pie is good. Yes, it is. Pie is good. Man, now I'm hungry. Pie is good adds to our subscriber questions with an interesting one. Do you think Wintertusk will greatly increase the number of subscribers to Wizard 101? I don't think it'll greatly increase the number of subscribers as much as it will bring back wizards who let their subscriptions run out at the end of Celestia because they were bored. When you first subscribe, you're around level 10, and you've been farming the Kraken for a while. You just want to see more of what's out there at that point. A lot of new subscribers probably don't even care about Wintertusk just because it's 40 to 50 levels down the road for them. I think that if you look at the charts, about the time Celestia came out, and you took a look at them again right after Wintertusk came out, you might see a small spike in the amount of subscribers, but it'd be about even for the most part. Maybe. Looking to the future is always good, though, and Morgan Beargiver is looking way down the line with her question, do you think they'll ever raise the level cap? You bet, Morgan. Even if it isn't until after the Morgan-themed quest line is finished, we will get more levels. The upside to an MMO-style game is that they can go on forever. And the downside is you have to add fuel to the fire so they do go on forever. And in the case of Wizard 101, that fuel is new worlds, new spells, new pets, and new levels. You gotta remember, Celestia isn't the end of the world, it's the beginning of a whole bunch of new worlds. We have to track Morganthine down and kick her in the shins. We still have her prophecy to unravel. We've got a lot of work to do, and I personally wouldn't be surprised if we saw some levels come out before we got to the end of her questline. Now for a question that a ton of my viewers ask me, what is an AV monitor? The AV in AV monitor stands for audio and video. You see, way back in the day when dinosaurs roamed the earth, okay, well, maybe not that long ago, school classrooms didn't have built-in TVs, computers, and digital projectors. They had flat light and mirror overhead projectors and film reel video projectors, and then the entire school had maybe 5 or 6. And they'd rent them out from the AV room, and the AV monitor was the person who kept track of which projector was where. They brought them to the classrooms, they brought them back, and they made sure they were working. And when I was a kid, I thought that was the coolest job in the world. The school I went to always had 2 AV monitors, one for grade school and one for junior high, and I wanted the job so bad, but the AV monitor was always someone from the student council, and since I couldn't stay after school, I never got to be an AV monitor. When I approached Jester with Wizard Weekly, and he asked me what I wanted my title here on Central to be, AV monitor was the very first thing that came to mind, even though it's an outdated and rather corny attempt to live a childhood dream. And that's what AV monitor means, and that's why I chose it above something like Anchor Wizard, which just sounds like it should be dangling off the front of a ship somewhere. That's all for this week's Wizard Weekly. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to tune in next week for more on the Wizard Central 200th tournament. Happy weekend, everyone!